Aloha, everyone. My name is Celia Gregory, and I am the National Education and Mobilization Manager for organization Hope Street Group, which is recruiting in your state for new Hawaii State Teacher Fellows this spring. Thanks for your interest in the sort of technical how-to. I hope you've learned a little bit more about our program from State Director Kelly and current and or former fellows that have helped her illustrate what the whole thing is about, and hopefully you are now interested in applying in our window between March 12th and April 8th, 2018. I'm going to show you how to do that in as quick a time as I can so you feel really comfortable with the actual how of applying once you're interested. So beginning on March 12th, here from apply.hopestreetgroup.org, and actually before March 12th, you should be able to see information about our programs in general. We do have fellowships in other states and on the island of Kauai. So Kentucky, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Utah will be recruiting again in 2019. But Hawaii is special, always special, but especially special in 2018 in recruiting new fellows for a robust cohort of folks that represent every island in the state in multiple complex areas for teacher leadership efforts. So March 12th through April 8th is when you can actually take the additional step after learning about the programs to apply, and you can do that by clicking register here up top, or by following through to the Hawaii State page, learning more about the Hawaii program in particular, and clicking apply. So I'm going to click apply, and if I'm a new person, it will ask me to register, but I'm going to log in as an account I've already made for the purposes of this video, and so that we can jump to the options for actually applying as if it were March 12th. Gotta love a live demo. Okay, great. I'm in, even though it said whoops. I'm a test applicant and I'm in here in my portal. So this is what it would look like if you've already had your eligibility named. That's going to be one question once you register that it will ask when you first log in with your email address and name. The register button would actually show you the ability to put in first name, last name, and email address. And I will just ask that you use an email address that you think you're going to check the most often in that period between March 12th and April 8th, which I think includes spring break for you all. So if that's your personal email address and not your school address, that is totally fine. Your school address is not mandatory, but there will be a section in the in the personal information section of the application where you can offer a second email address, a just in case for us if we can't reach you or if you're unresponsive during the time that we need to get in touch with you. So if I've already logged in, confirmed my email address, this is what my application start portal is going to look like, since I'm only eligible for one application this cycle, and that's the Hawaii application as a teacher or instructional coach who works in the state of Hawaii. I'm going to click start here, and you'll see that there are 3 tasks that you need to complete before you can click submit before April 8th. And we hope that you'll do it sooner than that so you're not down to the wire, although you do have the full 4 weeks to submit. 0 of 3 tasks complete. This will show your progress, this progress bar here. The first of which, and you do not have to complete these in order, but the first of which is the personal information form, pretty basic stuff. And I'm going to fill that out as a test applicant here so you see what it's asking. Pretty basic stuff. This is all important up top just so we know where you live and work. And, you know, we're not in the business of snail mailing people, but it's to show where you are and on which island. And of course, you're not in Utah, you're in Hawaii. And I'm putting dummy data in, but you'll see that these fields are case sensitive. So you do need dashes between your area code and your phone number, prefix and suffix. It's pulling in the primary email address that you already used to log in. And I'm going to put a separate email address just in case. Backup email. Again, this is a dummy email account. But that would be just in case. Now for Twitter here, we at Hope Street Group have a really active presence on social media, and Twitter is one of the main ways we have educators across the state and across many states communicate with each other. That does not mean that coming into the fellowship program that it's mandatory you already have a Twitter presence, but if you have one, this will just save us the step of populating that information once you become a fellow. And it's also nice to see what you're up to if you're already active on Twitter. Again, though, this is not scored. That is not mandatory, much like other information on the personal information section. It's just an FYI for us as we develop this application process year to year. Current school, please write out if it's a school instead of high school, instead of H period, S period, write out high school, write out middle school, just so we know the full school name. And for our records, it's as clean as can be. Is your school a charter? We do accept charter school teachers. Any public school teachers in the state of Hawaii are eligible for our program. So this is just an FYI. And current complex area here is listed by district. So you can find yours in this drop down, and we'll say I'm a teacher on Maui. And if I teach, say, 4th grade, then I'm going to use these two fields, teacher, 4th grade, all subjects, to specify what I teach and at what grade level. If you were an instructional coach for kindergarten through 5th grade in your complex area, maybe you do K through 5 math. So be as specific as possible, just so we know what you're up to. We love having a diversity in our cohorts. And when we score the narrative response questions, we don't know who's writing what, but this is really helpful for us to know when we have finalized our cohorts, where you're from, what you teach. And believe me, the cohorts that are diverse love learning from one another. This also goes for years in the classroom. So we have folks in their 1st or 2nd year, and we have veterans of education who are nearing retirement. So all are welcome. I'm going to say I have 25 years of experience. Go ahead and just put a numeral in there too. So that's an easy field. You don't have to, do 25.5 or down to the month or anything like that. So other basic fields here, and you'll see some of them are optional. Are you a national board certified teacher? Again, just a nice FYI. I'm going to say that I am. Are you available for orientation on Oahu? This date is subject to change after the recording of this video, so make sure to check the actual website, and this application will be reflecting the actual date, which I do not believe is June 7th and 8th on Oahu, but later in the summer. So make sure when you commit to the orientation, you see the correct dates, check your family schedules. That is mandatory for new teacher fellows, because so much learning and camaraderie takes place on that very first occasion that you all get to meet. So that is a large piece of the process, is launching the program, and we want to make sure that you'll be available for those dates once they are set. Likewise, we want to make sure that you are committed to staying, at least at this point in time. We know stuff happens, life happens, but want to make sure you're committed to staying in a teaching role, non-administrative. So it might be a hybrid role, but if you need to be in the classroom at least part of the time and working with students part of the time to be eligible for this program, and we hope you'll commit to the full 1st year and be able to finish that, and possibly even the full 2nd year, since we've moved to more of a 24-month program. This is just making sure it's sort of your intention to stay in education, and we will evaluate, quarterly, and then definitely near the end of the 1st year, your fitness for the 2nd year of the program. Admin name, I'm just going to have this information cross-listed with, if you make it to the 2nd round, the finalist stage, you will need an expressed support from your administrator. So if there was ever anything lost in translation, it's nice to have it on this part of the application, who that person is. So I'm going to put principal email here. And again, this field and your email field will make sure that the email is correct and is a real email before it'll let you submit. How did you hear about the fellowship? This is important just as we, again, refine our promotion of the fellowship opportunity, and we know how important it is, our partner relationships in the state, and also peer-to-peer FYIs. So if you heard about this from a current teacher fellow in our program, or maybe an alumni fellow, make sure to list that, check all that apply. If you got the state email, you also got one from your principal, you saw something on Twitter and you want to write about that, maybe you attended a focus group from Hope Street Group fellow in months or years past, make sure to list that and specify in the other box who you learned about this from or how you learned about it. So I'm going to put Lotus Notes, March 2018. All right, so this is all done, and you will have the opportunity to edit it again before you click submit, but I'm going to mark this part as complete. first part of the fellowship application, and you'll see now there's a green check. This, I'm going to jump down to upload a resume because that is all it takes is one upload. This is something you might want to take some time to work on if you don't have a current resume, not because this is scored, but because we think it's a necessary component of any sort of professional development opportunity like our Teacher Fellows program is. It also gives you a chance to reflect on some of the growth you've experienced in your current role, maybe in your past roles. If you don't have an updated resume, give you the opportunity to reflect on that and articulate that, and maybe pull some of those stories and that information into the narrative response section of your application. In the habit of being reflective practitioners, we'll ask you to upload a resume, but this is not scored. It's just for us to check for consistency if need be, for the actual places you've worked and lived, and any other information that's on there. So PDF is the only acceptable format. It'll show that. You'll see that it uploaded really fast. You can see that it's attached, and I'm going to mark this as complete too. I just picked a random PDF. Okay, so that one's done too. 2 of 3 tasks complete. The most important section, because it's the only section that is scored for your candidacy in the Fellows Program, is the narrative response section. So I'm not going to belabor the point since these are already listed on the apply.hopestreetgroup.org website for you to go ahead and see before the application even opens. If you want to draft your answers and then you're just copying and pasting by the time this is open, that is awesome. But definitely take some time to look through. These are some meaty questions with multiple parts and sections, and it's a competitive process. So we hope that we can get to know you best through these 3 different questions. They are word limited, so you'll see here as you start to type, they have a maximum of 500 words. So I'm going to say this is a very short answer. Now, mind you, it doesn't necessarily mean short answers aren't scored well, but the more you can include here about your experience and the better, the more specific you are in your answers, the better we can get to know you. And when I say we, it's important to note I'm on staff, Kelly's the state director, but it's actually going to be scored by your peers. So teachers in Hawaii and teachers across the country that have been part of our programs, they are currently or they're alumni fellows. So these are folks who really are invested in our programs. They know the type of folks that they would like to work alongside in this program, and they'll be scoring your questions according to a rubric. So best practices here for really practicing what we preach about teacher leadership and having teachers vet the candidates for this program. So make sure they can get to know you. One important note, and I'm going to advance to the next question here, so you can see how the form works, and it'll show your progress bar up here as well. For these 3 narrative response questions, because folks are reviewing them that might not necessarily live on your island or even in your state, if there's anything that's relevant to only your community or your school or your complex area, make sure to define those things, right? So if it's an initiative that's only based in Hawaii, we would want a North Carolina teacher scoring your application to know what that program is or what it means. So take care to define, definitely spell out acronyms in their first usage, and just don't assume that somebody reading this application knows exactly what you're talking about if it's a specific program in education, or even a specific resource. So, take the education speak out of it as much as you can so the answers are really clear. The second one's more about communication with your peers. Again, I'm going to do a dummy answer here, and you can see the word count. It's showing how many I have, and it would stop you if you went over. So next here, and you can continue editing, but meanwhile, this is saving as you go. So it's automatic. You're not going to lose your work. I am a nervous person, so I would probably still save it somewhere externally in Microsoft Word, but you can come back multiple times, any time of day, to mess around in this site before you actually click submit, and then it's final. So final question is about solutions you might offer to a problem in your school, district, or complex area, and folks that you might involve in tackling that challenge. So final questions answer right here, and for the purpose of this dummy application, now we are done with the narrative response form. So 1, 2, 3, you got your 3 check marks. You can go back and review. You can go download as exactly as you would see this. It would just pull up a PDF for you. Mine didn't because my pop-ups are blocked, but you can do that. And now I'm going to click review and submit. so that you can see everything that has been input before you click submit. Go through and review. You'll have some time to do that. And then I'm going to say, yep, I'm done. Submit your application is here, this blue button at the bottom. So you will get an email from us when you register for an account. You'll get an email reminding you about the deadline. You will probably get an email at other points in the time, just so we know that you're in touch with us and you are intending to finish and submit your application by the April 8th deadline. But you will for sure receive an application once it's submitted, and that will specify to you that we will be back in touch with you in a certain time. So I'm going to show you here actually what this looks like. We remind you that we are accepting them through April 8th, and then we will have peer review in April. So again, full-time teachers doing this out of their kindness and in their spare time. So we're allowing ample time for review. Don't worry if you haven't heard back from us. It's because everybody has to come in and everybody has to be reviewed before we make decisions and move on in the application process. You will hear from me at fellowship@hopestreetgroup.org one way or the other about your candidacy by May 1st. So no later than May 1st, you will hear something from us about your application. And then folks that are finalists will move on and in early May be interviewing with the state director, Kelly, on the phone. So no matter where you live, you would just need to carve out 30 minutes for that opportunity, and then take another step to get your expression of support from your administrator before you would be officially and finally considered approved for this fellowship opportunity. So I'm going to show you, you can go back to your application here. I'm going to show you another fake application at that stage, at the finalist stage. You can see how you can't edit once you've submitted because now it's in the review pile. But hopefully you've taken great attention to detail and you have everything you need in that application. So I'm going to log in as a different account because I have somebody that's a little further along in the process, and that person can go ahead and ask their administrator for their support. So what does that mean? It's really a sign-off of your participation in the program. So you would, of course, want the support of your principal to have your voice heard statewide and through your complex area and representing your school in this program. But it also might mean 2 days out of the classroom. So we want that approval for those times off, and that's all this means. Oh, and I'm having trouble with my password. There we are. So here is the other fake person that has applied. They're actually at the finalist stage, and this is what it would look like in the system come May if you are invited to interview with Kelly. The email that you get will prompt you to set up an interview time with her, and we'll use some software for that, so it's pretty easy to check your family and school schedules and pick a 30-minute call time that works. In about a week and a half window, you'll receive communication again specifically about that. But here in the system, you would log back in to request your administrator support. See your previous tasks here. This one comes in May, and you've already given your principal the heads up that you're going to be asking for this. This is what you would click, is get a recommendation. So I'm going to say my first name is Hawaii applicant. Fake. Here's my email. And I'm going to introduce that this is an exciting opportunity and I'd appreciate your support. Obviously, you'll use full sentences. So this will be in addition to, and it'll be personalized before they see the step they need to take via email. So send request. So this is your part, and then your part's done. The rest is that person has to receive the invitation and then come into this same website and express their support. So they will have an opportunity to expound upon how wonderful you are, but really it's just the simple, yes, I approve, and I'm going to mark this as complete because I've already requested, but you'll see that the other person has actually completed the request, and then you can mark as complete, review, and submit to consider it final. Sorry that that stage is a few weeks away now, so I don't even have a dummy account that's at the final version. But I hope that you feel comfortable with this website at any point if you need to ask me questions one-on-one. Again, my name is Celia. The email address is fellowship@hopestreetgroup.org. And I'm excited to see your applications come in between March 12th and April 8th. Thank you for your interest in this program and your seriousness about applying. We really look forward to getting to know you. And I hope, again, that you learn more about our program on our website, apply.hopestreetgroup.org, where you can find another video more about the program itself and why you would want to be part of this amazing community. Thanks so much, and mahalo.